How's it going, guys? Alex here. Welcome back to another Dokkan Battle video, and today I'm joined by DFree, and we are going to be going over the top 5, I almost said agility, top 5 tech type units in the game, and at the end there is going to be a list with the top 5 super types and extreme super types. Imagine if that's a thing. And extreme types in like a separate thing at the end of the video, but say hi.
Skirt, skirt.
Okay, yeah. just leave
No,
it
what's up, man? I don't want to make it just like a cringy intro. Well, maybe that's already been accomplished. But
I think that's already
anyways,
been
at least I didn't say toot or anything like that.
Yeah,
bro.
that could have been a lot worse.
But no, thanks for having me on, man. Definitely a pleasure to talk some Dokkan Battle.
Dokkan. Anyway,
Yeah.
over tech type units today, and I've kind of established this thing now, which I'm probably going to do for the entirety of the month, even though there isn't enough time, that each week I'm just going to do a series of these videos, and obviously I guess this week is just going to be tech because it's Monday. So to start off with the number 5 spot, because we are kind of limited on time, we have the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, and we spoke about this before the start of the video, and the thing that kind of ruins him the most is just simply the fact that his 12 key is extreme damage, but overall he's still a great unit. Obviously if you want to use him as a lead, you can, because he gives a 70% to tech types and 3 key. He has 3 different super attacks, obviously, well actually technically it's 4, 9 and 10 key, 11 key, 12 key, causes immense damage. With the 9 and 10 key. 11 key is the one that massively raises his own attack and causes immense damage as well. And then of course the 12 key, which is the one that you don't want to be aiming for the majority of the time, but you kind of have to because of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Super Saiyan 3 Goku, causes extreme damage and greatly lowers defense, which is probably one of the most useless mechanics in the game. And in comparison to the physical one, which is obviously what the Gotenks, well this Gotenks in particular needs, is that the physical one with the 12 key still causes immense damage, and I'm curious to see if he ever gets an Extreme Z Awakening, will they give him the immense damage for the 12 key super attack?
Well, if he ever does, it'll probably be so far down the line that, yeah, if he got it today, I'd say they probably would give him Supreme as to not make him as competitive with the other Gotenks. So, probably Supreme. Agree. But that'd still be usable. I mean, it's not to say that the 12 key doesn't do damage, because for example, I've seen it crit for like 1,000,000 damage and stuff like that, but there is such a huge drop-off between 11 and that one, right? It's kind of like, what's the point? And if you run a team like Super Tech with the SS3 Goku lead, you know, you have SS3 Goku, you have Gotenks, you have Gogeta, and this guy really doesn't want to be with Gogeta in particular because that's Fused Fighter and Over in a Flash. That's instant 11 key, right? So he has no choice but to get that one. And then on top of that, if he's linked with Goku, for example, he's going to be starting off at 9 key, which maybe you can maneuver and get, you know, whatever other super you get from there. It's just, the main issue with this guy is he's really gimmicky and he has no way out. A lot of times it just seems like he's forced into getting that, and God forbid you run things like TN or anything like that on the team, like any sort of support unit that would help the team overall. You basically have to take a hit because Gotenks is going to be like, oh hey, I'm gonna, you know, get this buff, everybody's gonna get this buff, but I'm gonna be a little bit weaker, you know. And it's just it's kind of one of those things where you pick your poison. Overall, like a great unit, right? Especially if he functions the way that you want him to. You definitely want him to get 9, 10, or 11, preferably 11, because 12 has very limited uses just in general, greatly reducing, as you said, is probably the worst mechanic in the game. And it's not our fault, it's just the way that the game values the enemy's defense. So I don't know, man. He's a good unit, definitely top 5 overall, but I kind of felt like towards the end there when we were making this portion of the list, it felt like he kind of made it on the merit of not very many units being there.
Yeah, exactly.
For super attack, really, that are better than him.
We were looking at this as like, well, we kind of have to put him in there just because of how, like, despite him getting a 12 key, okay, his attack is absolutely monstrous, especially on certain leads like the Super Saiyan 3 category, which provides...
Mine's at 80%. If anybody can judge him, I know my guy, man. He's at 80% in the potential system. He hits really hard, right? And he's really good. It's just his main issue is that he's not physical. He's not the physical.
He's not the physical one. So it's like, it's okay. You're good, but
that doesn't hurt like AGL Vegito though either, because AGL Vegito is really good and physical's obviously better because he gets that attack build up. But it's like this guy Gotenks really wants to be his new version.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the issue with him. And I'm looking at this now because I don't know if you saw it. I did the whole damage test video, and I'm looking at the physicals, the stats for the physical one right now. At 12 key, his attack stat is still higher than 9 and 10 key. And if you have a look at the tech one, his 12 key is lower than both his 9 key and a 10 key. So you can see the biggest difference right there. Like, his 12 key is always going to be the lowest for the tech type in particular, but he is on great categories. But again, if you have the physical one, you're just never going to use him over the tech one. But he's still a great unit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, basically.
Now, the number 4 spot, honestly, this, like, Did I get that wrong? Yeah, number 4 spot. I got the two confused.
No,
for a
that's
moment
right.
there.
It's just number 4
Yeah.
and number 3 are really close.
Yeah, exactly. I saw the 2. I was like, wait, hold on. So in the number 4 spot, bro, I'm getting flashbacks to that cooler Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan 3 Goku video. So in this number 4 spot, we do have the agility. Oh boy. We have the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Goku, of course, is the lead for the Super Tech types. I don't even know what they were thinking when they made this mechanic. So he gets to 120% attack boost, and he gets 20% per rainbow orb obtained. It's almost impossible to get 5, because that's the maximum that you can get. When he gets it, he obviously is going to be getting a pretty significant buff, but it's just such a rare thing, and it's not necessarily something that you bother with. So in total, he could be getting an additional 100% on top of his attack, which would take it up to, what, 220%? But it's not something that you particularly look for that much when you're trying to use this guy.
You know what? I completely forgot about that.
Exactly. It's just such a forgettable mechanic. I appreciate them. We're trying to be unique at the very least, but it's like, no one remembers.
Yeah, I like it. And like you said, just to clarify, you can get 5 rainbows. It can go in a straight line. It depends on a lot of different factors, like the orbs on the side getting bursted or whatever. But it's possible. That's the maximum you'll get. But most of the time, from my experience, whenever I did remember that mechanic, whenever he was like a brand new unit, I would most of the time get 2 to 3. Like sometimes you get that 4 and it's nice, but most of the time it's 2 or 3. But overall, I have no real gripes with this guy. He can stun, every now and again. He doesn't have that exact same defensive versatility that he once had. But there's one theme for this game. Whenever these units get on these monstrous teams, like 150 defense and stuff like that, and then they also have higher potential system, everybody can freaking tank. God forbid you also have a support unit there, like, but in a good way. Yeah, exactly. Everybody can tank, man, but just varying degrees as far as like how much they can tank the super attacks and stuff like that. But he doesn't have that innate defensive versatility, but I really don't care. Overall, one of the hardest hitters in the game, especially because of the fact that he's a part of the SS3 category, and I really don't have anything bad to say about him, really. Overall, isn't he? Well, yeah, he definitely is. I was gonna say, isn't he a harder hitter than the Gotenks? Previously, yeah, he is. It's like not even debatable. He's been calculated. So yeah, I don't really have anything really to say about this guy. He's awesome. He is what he is.
He is a good unit, and I always had a soft spot for Super Saiyan 3 Goku because it was kind of my favorite forms. I was like, okay, this guy's cool. But then, just after seeing his team, it's kind of like, okay, if I don't have these certain units, it's going to be a bit yikes. But I'm kind of glad that he's making a bit of a comeback here because obviously the Super Saiyan 3 category is good, and you can use this Angel Goku alongside the agility one. So that's a good
AGL one. And that's the best thing about it, really, is you can run both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they both pop into the top 10 list. So, like, you have...
Can't go wrong with that.
That category in and of itself is wild because just to clarify... Physical SS3 Gotenks, who we talked about. The funny thing is TEQ Gotenks, I don't think even makes the list, but physical Gotenks is at the very, very top of all the transcendent URs damage-wise. Yes, including Gogeta. So, because of that category, so you have that team, and it's like, oh, well, I have him. I have Bardock, who sometimes I just don't feel like he deserves there, because sometimes he's really underwhelming. He needs his freaking 40% passive. You have Bardock, you have Broly, you have this guy we're talking about now, this Goku, you have AGL Goku.
There are just so many great options for that team. It's like, what are you doing, Bandai? They have... Right, and it's the exact same thing with physical. They've added so many units to that physical type group. It's like, what are you doing?
They keep on shooting out new physical units like it's the thing to do.
They came out of nowhere. Like, it was legit one of the worst types in the game. And now it's like at the peak. It's the pinnacle of all types right now. But another thing that is obviously good about him, if you want to go through that terrible grind and Zenny draining and Awakening Medal draining farm or grind, you can farm your super attack at the very least. So if you want to do that, go ahead and go for it. I wouldn't recommend it because it does cost quite a bit. But again, if you don't have the cards, definitely is worth it. So that's pretty much him in the number 4 spot. Almost said 3 again. Do you have any last words for him?
No, man, I really didn't have much to say about him because there's nothing really to say. I don't have any personal gripes. I just think he's a very well-rounded unit, very good. He doesn't have that, like I said, that exact same defensive versatility like an outright tank would, but it doesn't matter as much when we talk about the next guy.
Your boy, Super Saiyan 3 Broly. Bro, when I saw this unit, I was like, are you kidding me? You cannot... Why did you not pick a better character?
No. So in your defense at the time, in my defense at the time, really this guy only really just became really good.
Yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't good from the start. He wasn't an Omega Shenron. He was legit bad.
Yeah, he was like the least wanted, coveted 120 leader. And I still feel that way about him on his own team. But on this team, on the SS3 category team, because again, if you can't tell, this is based off of JP, so we factor in the categories. Yeah, he is insane. He's a freaking monster. And there's nothing else you could say about it. And the thing about it is he doesn't have Over in a Flash, which is a common link. But he's fortunate that Bardock has Prepare for Battle and Over in a Flash. They literally thought of Broly when they did that. But they didn't think of Broly when they made Bardock only support super type units for 40%.
Yeah.
But even without that, I think he needs like, what? I think it was like 5 or 6. It was like calculations, something like that.
It was such a small amount.
Yeah, he only needs a little bit of orbs, basically, to be able to be the third hardest hitter in this game or so.
Which is absolutely ridiculous.
Wild,
if you take you're taking a look at some of these extremely awakened units, and the fact that he comes in third with just a small amount of orbs is ridiculous. Granted, he does lower his own defense, but does that even matter if you can take out the stage without getting hit?
Nope.
And I'm looking at his,
it doesn't matter.
Bro, I'm looking at his link set right now. He has such an odd link. This man has Nightmare. How? What? Sorry, when did that like become relevant? And I think the reason why they did that for the most part is because of Ella Black and Zamasu and obviously other units for that link.
Yeah, and that's why they gave him Prepare for Battle, because they were looking at his team and like, oh, well, he has nobody to have Over in a Flash with. And that was a really big gripe that I had with the unit when they announced him. At the time, I was like, yo, so Broly's gonna suck because nobody here has Over in a Flash. There may be some unit I'm not thinking of, but it wouldn't have been worth running, right? And then Bio Broly came out and he was like, oh, well, Bio Broly's your best friend. But then we find out he has Prepare for Battle and it works.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and yeah, Mass Sand and then the Tech Turles and yeah, they all had Prepare for Battle.
Just broken. 12 key multiply 150% as well. Farmable super attack.
Yep.
Like, one thing I do like, to be fair, is how they are giving more of these units like that farmable super attack, to be fair.
Yeah, well, what they've started, at the time that they did that, Broly and Goku, they were actually pretty much farmable, but now they started doing that thing where you have to pull for the unit, and then it's kind of like a semi-farmable one. You have to pull for the SR, which sucks, but it's still nice, because at the end of the day, you don't have to use Kais. I didn't use Kais to max out my Bardock, for example. Just had a million of those AGL ones.
From a Super Saiyan Goku banner, probably?
Yeah, exactly, just always.
They just start piling up. There's just so many, it's like, well, there's no point in using Kais, unless you're lazy, obviously. But overall, Broly's just an absolute beast, especially on this team, despite his defense going down. And the fact that he can even get onto that list, despite what he actually is just crazy. It just shows you how great that category actually is. And yeah, there isn't too much to say about him apart from the fact that it's Broly, even though they legit just dropped an LR like a few weeks / months prior to the release of this one. It's like, why are you going down the Broly route again? Villains at this point in time aren't even that loved anyway because you're just dropping like random ones that no one cares about. But I want to what other villain do you think could have suited this particular lead?
The Extreme Tech lead?
Yeah.
Anything that had Fear and Faith, really. The team would have been so much better if it was centered around Fear and Faith or Shocking Speed, or like if a unit that had both, right?
Yeah, but what character
doesn't Goku Black have that?
He does.
Okay, well, I would have liked something like Metacooler. I thought Metacooler would have been an interesting choice.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Maybe Lord Slug. A lot of people wanted Lord Slug.
Yes, like why have we not seen a Lord Slug? But they are seemingly
would have worked.
Yeah. They are seemingly bringing more units out like that from like movies and such, so we are most likely going to see it in the future, even before like 30th anniversary, but which I doubt because Goku was here. So, number 2,
Tapion is a huge foreshadow, man. I think Tapion's a good omen, yeah.
Full Super Saiyan, maybe.
I don't know if they're going to go there, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Definitely
Dual Dokkan Festival, Lord Slug, False Super Saiyan. Everybody's going to pull on the False Super Saiyan.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. But imagine that, like, if Tapion is in the movie category, imagine that team. Janemba, Gogeta, Goku.
Yeah. I wonder what they would call it, because it's not called False Super Saiyan in the movie. That's a fan-made term. So, like, would they call it, like, Super Saiyan Omen? I don't know.
I guess that could work. They could get a bit creative with that. Original Super Saiyan. Oh boy. That
could be interesting. Maybe they just call him Goku and just like have him looking like that. That's probably the most likely scenario.
Goku fake Super Saiyan.
No, they just flat out Goku. And just he looks like that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, dilate or missing pupils and stuff or whatever.
Because
the lore behind that is they made that before they knew what the transformation actually looked like. So if they waited a little bit, they would have used the real Super Saiyan transformation. So
it's definitely a bit of an interesting one. I'm surprised Orion didn't like have anything in mind. It's like, okay, this is what the form actually looks like. But then, did he get the idea from the movie? Okay, this is actually what I think would look better.
I have no idea about that.
It's something along those lines. Geekdom probably knows.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah. Nonetheless, number 2 spot, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. I mean, Yeah,
so you know who number 1 is now. It's easy.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, Gogeta, obviously the lead for the fusion category. Incredible link set. He gives himself that buff, which is a 50% buff, by the way. Greatly raises his own attack and defense, which is 50%. Immense damage. 70% chance to counter a super attack, even though for me, that never is a 70% chance. But yeah.
No, it's more like 100.
You think so? Bro, this man never counters for me.
He always counters for me. I get legit depressed when I see him not counter.
It's just such a high chance. Like, okay, it makes sense. So, because I mentioned this earlier, we're kind of on a time crunch. So, of course, number 1, we have LR Black and Zamasu. Just great all around. They are probably, would you say they are probably the most balanced LR in the game? So, just be almost complete.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. They have a lot of different mechanics going for them that
it's just that build up
that
I know can be a bit bothersome to some people, but I personally don't mind it. But
yeah. They have a lot going for them, though. I think that Goku Black is probably the most well-rounded LR in the game, as you mentioned it.
And if it ever
the healing, the defense, I would have loved for that to have been mitigation, but whatever, right?
Because their bosses can lower the defense. We've gone over this multiple times. Bosses generally do lower the defense of your units with their super attacks, which is why sometimes you see Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta take a hit for like 30 or 40k. So that's something to take into account. But yeah, again, farmable super attack for these guys. Best partnership with the Transcendent Ultra Rare or Merger Masu. They can raise their own defense every time that they super attack. There's just so many good things about them. The only thing that could have made them better is having the Super Saiyan link, but that would have been a bit generous.
They were in a position like SS4 Gogeta is, where it's like, hey, this guy would be so much better if he had, like, for example, Saiyan 4. But it's like, there's no room for it. He has shocking speed. He's one of the fastest characters, if not the fastest character in Dragon Ball at that time, right? So he has to have it. And then he has GT. He has to have it. He has Super Saiyan. He has to have it. He has Big Bang Kamehameha, so he has a Kamehameha Link. He has to have it. You know, Fused Fighter. He has to have it. Yeah, exactly. And over in a Flash, the transformation lasted just a matter of minutes. He had to have it. So it's like, you know,
he's kind of due from the start.
I think they're in the same position though.
And
what'd you say?
He's kind of deep from the start, really, just because of what he is.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So
he's kind of forced into stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing that we've mentioned before, just to quickly wrap things up here, is how if we ever go back into a defensive meta, LR Black and Zamasu could easily climb like the LR charts themselves and potentially be the best, but that's if we go back into a defensive meta.
Yeah, for the most part. It's interesting though, because it depends on like the leader skills these days, because like the category leader skills make such a massive difference.
They do.
With a lot of this calculation stuff. I mean, we just talked about how Broly is like the 3rd hardest hitter, and he's out damaging Gogeta, who gets, again, type effective and stuff like that. It just makes such a massive difference, so it just really just depends on that overall. So I think that Goku Black, again, most well-rounded LR in the game because of the fact that it can defend, hit hard, hit over 1 million, which is basically a prerequisite in this game if you're going to be a damage dealer. Can also heal you up a significant chunk, and just incredible overall. So it just depends on the way that things change in the future, the meta of the game. But I think that it's already too far gone personally. I think damage has been the focus for too long to really impact that.
And if you do want to, impact that, you kind of have to like make it harder for the free-to-play players, which is going to be an obvious issue. But I'm just looking at the categories now that he's on, and I mean, they are good, but he's essentially on a Super 17 lead because Battle category, 2 key, 120% boost, and then Ultra Instinct is the exact same. But again, Ultra Instinct Goku could get an awakening, and that will most likely change. But I'm curious to see what they definitely do down the line.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I want to point out is that there was a legitimate case for Gogeta being number 1, because he also is really, really good. But I just feel like, Goku Black being an LR, getting that SA20 and all those different factors kind of nudge him a little bit in that number 1 spot. But really, Gogeta isn't really, in my mind, too far behind, really.
I definitely
At least
agree
right now.
Yeah, who knows? In the future, that could potentially change. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. As always, go ahead and check out DFree in the comment section down below. It makes awesome content, and we are definitely going to throw down when Fighters comes out, right?
Bro, why are you trying to pick on me?
I'm sorry, but I just kind of want to get ahead of the game, fam, but I'm going to seem like a bully now. Yeah, check out his channel.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Bro, it brings me back to the Xenoverse 2 days, but I think we've gone on long enough. And yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Can't speak. Bye.
Take it easy.